Channel 2 and the American River Conservancy present the series, A Place Called Wakamatsu Farm.
They came seeking a new life in America after a brutal civil war in Japan. Among these first 22 or more Japanese immigrants were carpenters, craftsmen, wives, and children. Some were samurai. On June 8, 1869, they started their new lives on a fertile farm in Placerville. Now a place called Wakamatsu Farm, the landmark site of the Wakamatsu Tea and Silk Farm Colony, is owned and managed by American River Conservancy. Leaving little evidence of their few short years of success between 1869 to 1871, their efforts marked the beginning of the Japanese influence on agriculture in California. Their faces are captured in portraits taken in the Gilbert Studio in Placerville. Over 150 years ago, they seemed to gaze with hopeful confidence, unaware of the short time they would have before their grand venture would end. As the original Issei, or first generation of Japanese immigrants in America, some of their stories and their descendants are known. Their leader was John Henry Schnell, a Prussian resident and arms dealer in Japan. Schnell was an advisor to the daimyo leader of Aizu Wakamatsu, Lord Katamori Matsudaira. He was one of the few foreigners ever granted honorary samurai status. Schnell sold Western weapons to Matsudaira to arm his forces during the Japanese Civil War, also called the Boshin War. During the fall of 1868, the Imperial Army defeated Matsudaira's forces in Aizu. Matsudaira supported Schnell and the colonists' plan to begin their tea and silk farm in America. Matsudaira also planned to join them one day, but events prevented him from ever coming to the Placerville farm. Schnell's wife, Jo, or Yo, was from a samurai class family. No pictures of Jo have been confirmed. They had a daughter named Frances when they arrived, and later Jo gave birth to Mary Schnell, listed as 2 months old on the July 1870 census. That year, only 55 Japanese people were recorded in the U.S. Census, and at least 22 of them were at Wakamatsu Farm. After only a few short years, the colony ran into bad luck, mainly due to environmental reasons, including a drought. During the spring of 1871, Schnell left with his family, pledging to return with more support from Japan. But the Schnells never returned. After losing the Aizu battle, Matsudaira had to surrender his wealth, so there was no further support for the colonists from Japan. Some accounts say Schnell was later killed in Japan for his part in the war, but Schnell and his family faded from records, and their final years remain a mystery. After the colony disbanded, some of the colonists remained in America, while others returned to Japan. The most well-known colonist is young Oke, the nanny of the Schnell family. When the colony disbanded and the Vierkamp family took over the farm, Oke-san remained there until she died of fever at just 19 years old. Then Oke-san became the first Japanese immigrant and woman to die and become buried on American soil. Her life and death remain a lasting symbol of the earliest Japanese immigrants, along with their honor and sacrifices. The grave of Oke-san has become a pilgrimage site for over 100 years, especially for Japanese and Japanese Americans, and also now for visitors from around the world. colonist Matsunosuke Sakurai is believed to be one of the Gold Hill samurai. Known as Mats, he stayed at the farm and worked for the rest of his life for the Veerkamp family until his death in 1901. Records say Mats carried 2 swords in public, and it is said that he drew his swords during a confrontation in Coloma. A man of many skills, dedicated and hardworking, Mats was important to the early success of the Veerkamp farm. He was a talented gardener and carpenter and served as the trusted foreman of the Veerkamp's fruit distribution network. Mats is also remembered for his loyalty and friendship to Oke-san. After Oke-san died in 1871, Mats saved money for 15 years to purchase a lasting stone marker to ensure that Oke-san's memory would never be forgotten. Early 1900s news articles about Oke-san's grave and headstone brought to light the existence of the Wakamatsu colony, which also brought Japanese visitors to the farm. Mats's code of honor ensured the Wakamatsu colony story remains alive today. In 2018, American River Conservancy also placed a stone on Matsunosuke's unmarked grave in the Coloma Pioneer Cemetery, so his loyalty would always be remembered. Kuninosuke Mazumizu, also known as Kuni, was a 20-year-old carpenter when he arrived at the Placerville farm. Along with other carpenters, he helped build farm structures and helped to construct buildings for neighboring ranchers. Kuni married a young woman named Carrie Wilson, the descendant of Native American peoples and freed African American slaves. Over the next 20 years, Kuni's family became contributing members of the Coloma community. Kuni was a busy carpenter who built many homes. Some of them are still standing today, including the historic Vineyard House. Records also indicate he may have helped build the Cane House, which is now the American River Conservancy's Nature Center and office. Kuni's family moved to Sacramento, where he became an interpreter and opened one of the first Sacramento fish markets. For Kuni's descendants, Penny and Aaron Gibson, learning about their family history has been a rewarding and exciting journey. Their family has joined several Wakamatsu festivals and events to honor their ancestors and maintain their connection to Wakamatsu Farm. In 2014, Naori Shiraishi was a junior high school student in Tokyo, Japan. While doing a summer school project about her family roots, she was surprised to find that her ancestor, Oto Ofuji Matsugoro, and his family were members of the Wakamatsu tea and silk colony. Naori contacted the Conservancy to find out more. More research has shown Matsugoro learned about wine grapes during his time in California. He became an authority on winemaking when he later returned to Japan, where he remained. Naori came to Wakamatsu Farm in 2019 as an honored guest during the 150th anniversary celebration of the Wakamatsu colonists' arrival, the Wakamatsu Fest 150. At that time, Naori met young Chikamori Matsudaira, heir to the noble Matsudaira clan line. Sometimes called a prince, young Matsudaira is a Japanese imperial regent. He is also related to Mr. Ieihiro Tokugawa, the heir of the Tokugawa shogunate. Both of these gentlemen joined American River Conservancy's festival on June 8, 2019, exactly 150 years after the Wakamatsu colonists' arrival. It was a grand 4-day celebration of Japanese-American culture. Along with Naori, Kuni's descendants, Aaron, Penny, and their mother Barbara, were honored at the big festival. They received ceremonial samurai swords given to them by young Lord Matsudaira. This moment fulfilled his ancestors' pledge made 150 years earlier to meet the colonists at Wakamatsu Farm. Now, you, your friends, and your family can also visit the site of the first tea and silk farm colony and Gold Hill Samurai to make your own history at Wakamatsu Farm.